Welcome to Abolition Radio, the broadcast outreach of Love Never Fails, inviting you to join the fight to end human trafficking.
Oh, give me eyes to see. Oh, give me strength to lead. You give me all I need. So give me courage to believe.
Each week, Abolition Radio sheds light on the darkness of modern slavery, celebrates the work of abolitionists who are fighting for freedom, and equips the church to engage in the work of justice with hope rooted in God's Word. Our goal is to see a radio audience become an army of gospel activists.
You were in the neighborhoods we live in. You were in the ones we're passing by. You were in the ones we call our neighbors, and the ones who still escape our eyes.
Now here's the host of Abolition Radio, founder and executive director of Love Never Fails, Vanessa Scott.
Thanks, Dave, and welcome to Abolition Radio, the broadcast outreach of Love Never Fails. We've got a really special treat for you today. We're going to be talking about our Life Launch program, which is our workforce development program, and actually speaking with several of our partners in the community. But before we get to that, let me just introduce, obviously, I'm Vanessa Scott, really pleased to be here with you, and I have my lovely cohort, Miss Vanita Hopkins in the studio.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. So, and then we have some of our partners here with us, and
Yes.
We are just so grateful. As you all know, there's just really no way that Love Never Fails would be able to accomplish it as much as we have without the partners coming arm in arm with us everywhere we go, and we've got a powerhouse of folks here with us today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each person, but I also want them to kind of explain their programs in detail as we walk through our session today. So, beginning with Regina Evans, which you've heard from Regina, she's actually multi-talented here.
Yes.
So she is a playwright, poet. She is an activist. She's an abolitionist. She's an actress. I don't know if I mentioned that. And then she's
PR person.
She's our press officer, and she also is the owner of a beautiful space, a vintage clothing store in Oakland called Regina's Door. And she and Love Never Fails are doing some pretty exciting and I think innovative work around putting folks that have graduated from our Life Launch program, and also folks that are sort of in that interim period where they're waiting for that a new class to start, putting them in a place where they have a safe and trauma-informed work environment. And so, Regina, welcome out there.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. So Regina's joining us by way of phone, but her voice is there, so her presence is here with us. And also we have in the studio just an inspiring young person who is taking leadership by charge and taking charge of entrepreneurship and really taking a stance with the young people in her midst, and saying that the time is now to move into a place of basically turning our passions into profits, and you'll hear that theme throughout the day, because I think especially when we're talking about the youth that we work with, helping people to see what they're good at and see what their passions are and kind of come in contact with their true identity, and then looking for innovative ways to put that into a way of making sure that they're sustainable and they can provide for their families. And so with us in studio, we have Sabrina Henderson, who is the CEO of Young Motivated Entrepreneurs. Hi, Sabrina.
Yay. Hello.
All right. She's super cool. Did you hear that? Hello. She's smooth. So, and then another, this one is super smooth. See, he's got a couple of little things going over here. So, what's your title, Larry?
I'm the lead youth employment coordinator for Union City.
Oh, I was going to say the CEO, because CEO of Youth and Family Services of Union City. No, I'm not trying to take your boss's position there, but he is running things though. And so we have Larry Ewing from Union City, and notice, Sabrina's actually working in the East Bay. She's coming out of Glad Tidings, Bishop Macklin over there, whoop whoop, and also working with Basic Ministries in Oakland and kind of branching out there. We've got Regina, who's also in Oakland. We've got Larry, who's in Union City, and then we also have the director of Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center, Mr. or Pastor Tim Russell, and he is actually covering a couple different locations, and he has some colleagues that cover several different sort of work sites, if you will, but his focus is Palo Alto and Richmond. And so what we really like is that we've got this group of leaders that is sort of reaching out and spanning across the entire Bay Area. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're about. Because in order to take on trafficking and really make an impact, you can't be one-dimensional. You have to be multifaceted. You've got to be creative. You've got to be innovative. And really, it's the great minds that are here with us that help us to be all things to all men, right?
And we know how trafficking is so wide here in the Bay Area.
Yes.
And the Bay Area is so large. So
Yeah, so the mobility aspect of trafficking lends itself to us needing to collaborate more, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to be drilling down here with each of the folks that are on the call and here in studio with us, and kind of understanding, well, how do they, what are they doing to, first of all, empower someone who was once a victim to go after their passion and use it to create sustainability for them, and not to be used, right, by society, not to be exploited by a person or by a system, but instead to be utilized to make a difference for them, their families, and their communities at large. And so, Regina, can you tell us a little bit about, for those of you that didn't get, those of folks that are listening that didn't hear your story early on, how did you get into this fight, and then what are you doing with Regina's Door to take on this issue of sort of empowering people that were once victims to reclaim their place in this world and to provide for their families?
Okay, so I'm probably undergirding everything that I do is I am a survivor, and so that starts there. And so when I decided to actually go through healing and then my own healing and then join in the fight, I just kind of searched through. There is a scripture, I think it's Exodus, where God tells Moses to throw down what's in his hand. And so I was like, well, what's in my hand? So what's in my hand is my creativity. And so I already had a store in Australia with vintage clothing. So when I decided to open up a store, I just did that because that's what was in my hand. I knew how to do it. I knew how to buy. I knew how to set it up. And so I just set it up with a foundation of compassion and care, and with the thought of providing a space for the young women that come through Love Never Fails. And so basically my mission, how I see it, is like the title of the August Wilson play. It's got a play called Two Trains Running. And so it's promisability, with the promise of stability and love and life, and that's coupled with profitability. And so I basically wanted to provide a place where our youth who have been brutalized could come in and just kind of release.
Yes.
And to also know that this is a place where they can make mistakes,
Oh, that's
and that
good.
it would be okay. And also where it's a place where they could be themselves, so be you,
Empowerment.
And be them.
Yeah.
And empowering them.
That is the word of the day.
And to just love on them.
Yeah.
And so as I began to walk it out, I just kept saying all these different things. And so some of it has come into play, some of it has not. But what's come into play is, like, I'll give you an example. I have a young lady here, Araceli, who works here, who's an amazing young lady. And she now speaks out her story. She's very vocal.
Mm-hmm.
She is now, and I think she starts her business class with Renaissance Center on the 16th. She's had one class, but then they had to restart the class. So that she starts on the 16th, and that's with my old teacher from Women's Initiative, who's now with Renaissance Center. So she has that personal connection. She's also part of a program called Youth Business USA, which is through Greenside Development with a guy named Bo Garadelli. And what Bo does, he takes them, he mentors them, he gets them loan money through Kiva. He puts a team of people around them so they're not by themselves learning this whole process. She also just got approved to be in Hack the Hood, so she's learning how to do websites.
Wow.
And so she's here.
Wow. And so this is the type of innovation, folks, that are listening. This is the type of innovation that is really required. We're talking about, potentially someone who could be sitting in a jail cell. We're talking about potentially someone who, from that range of sitting in a jail cell to someone who could be a CEO of Pepsi or of some high-tech company. And really where they land is really up to us.
Yes.
And so in a minute, we're going to come back and hear a little bit more from Regina. I want to talk a bit more about what you're doing there, just a couple questions for you. And then we'll move on and again, hear from Larry over at Youth and Family Services of Union City and talk about some of the things that he's doing to make a difference in the life of our youth. So we'll be back in just a moment with another session of Abolition Radio.
We'll be back with more Abolition Radio right after these messages.
This is Pastor Gary from Faith Fellowship in San Leandro. We are so excited about the launch of Abolition Radio every Saturday. And we have seen Love Never Fails under Vanessa Scott grow right here in San Leandro out of our church at Faith Fellowship. And now her ministry, God gave her a passion to get young people out of the sex trafficking and sex slave industry. And she has been doing a phenomenal job. Not only is it locally, but now it's going globally. In fact, I prophesied to her that God was going to use her to go nationwide, and that's exactly what's been happening. She is a woman with a vision, with a direction, and a passion to see these young people come out of this kind of arena. And to God be the glory. Join with her every Saturday on Abolition Radio to hear what she has to say and then become a part of what she's doing. AbolitionRadio.org. Love never fails.
Welcome back to Abolition Radio, where you are invited to join the fight against human trafficking.
And welcome back with another session of Abolition Radio, the broadcast outreach of Love Never Fails. So thanks. We were starting to talk about Regina's door and sort of. I love what you said about you used what was in your hand. I love that, and it's biblical and it's artistic, and it's sort of amazing, right? Because when I think about the hand and the unique aspect of the hand, the way the hand is designed, the way that there's no fingerprint that is duplicate to another. And when you have something in your hand, oftentimes it's your DNA, it's your footprint. And if you can put your DNA, like you've done, Regina, on this issue of human trafficking and really take your spin, right, on and use your gifts. So I want to talk some more about one of the things that we've done, right, is we've had a couple of young ladies working there in the store that have been, come from a variety of different backgrounds, right? So some survivors, some at risk. We've had young people come through there that just need to talk, need a vent. When things were going on with the, like the police brutality and the riots and stuff, you had a youth sort of sit down or discussion. Maybe tell us a little bit about that as well.
So I did a youth discussion with another business owner, because one thing about this area is that we all work together.
Yep.
So we came together and we invited the youth of which there were many protesting. And so what we did was we said, if you're youth, you can talk. We also invited elders, so the elders greeted them and sat behind them and listened. Mm. And so we just all wanted to give them a space where they could vent, where they could say whatever it was that was on their heart, and then they began to plan.
Right.
So that wasn't part of the thing, but they began to plan what they wanted to do, and those things are now being carried out. And so it was really interesting, and it was very powerful just for them to have a space. And so they were very thankful that they had a space where they could come.
Yeah.
And it was a very healing night.
Well, and the reason I'm bringing that up on a workforce development training development session is because we have to encourage our young people to be critical thinkers, to express themselves in the terms that make sense to them and provide safe places for them to do that if they're ever going to actually learn what makes them tick. If they're constantly suppressing and pretending and, faking it until they make it and all that, and that's all that they're doing, they don't have a safe place for expression, then I think we're limiting this innovation and creativity that's kind of bottled up inside. So yeah. I appreciate that you, and you know what I also think about is the young people that you have interning there that are watching you do that.
Yes. There's so many, I have so many youth and they just keep growing. There's so many that just come and then they'll bring 2 more. And the young community that has surrounded this business, it's interesting. They feel like they have a safe place. So here's what's happened with all those youth. I've told them about I Am House. Mm-hmm. They are now setting up fundraisers with the businesses in this area to raise funds for I Am House. They're setting up street fairs. They're setting up, trying to set up a day where every month the businesses in this area will donate a portion of their funds, like every single month on that day. And that all happened first out of the space, just organically, them sitting around, me telling them and them hearing and trying to figure out what they can do. So there's all kinds of things that are unexpected that will happen when youth feel safe and feel like they have a space to be safe and to speak, to be safe and to speak. Yes, and to be able to speak. So you never know what's going to happen. I didn't expect any of this. It was organic. My thought was to provide them with a safe space. Yes. And then we'll just see what happens from there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, hats off to you, Regina. I mean, I'm just every day that you text me or you call me and say, look at what they're doing, look what's happening. It's just so exciting. So I'm just grateful to be a part of it, and I'm grateful for the partnership with Regina's Door. I kind of want to invite the rest of the folks in the studio in to kind of chime in on this. So Larry, you're with Youth and Family Services of Union City, and Regina is predominantly working with the youth in Oakland, although there is some movement, quite a bit of movement. What are you seeing in Union City?
As far as employment is concerned?
And your program and what you're trying to do, the innovation that you guys are putting in place.
Right. For us, thankfully, we have a lot of creative freedom to do what we do. A lot of times in this program, it's real, rigid, and it's boxed up, and you have to follow by certain guidelines in order to reach out to the youth. But our director has given us, creative freedom to really reach out to the youth in job training through a lot of creative ways. It's not just a standard format. And a lot of our trainings involve multimedia. We're bringing a lot of guest people in, a lot of hands-on for them. So, because they tend to learn better in that fashion as opposed to just being lectured to or here, take this test real quick to see if they're ready. So we've been given that creative freedom to do that. And so that's been pretty good. And the results from that have been really successful on our side. So.
Yeah, so just a little bit, so folks on that are listening know this. So we had last year we did a life launch pilot for young ladies, and we had 12 young ladies, and we had 11 young men, that graduated from a 28-week program. And actually, we invited Larry Ewing and Ken Thompson in to do a rap/poetry class with the young men, and they actually created this beautiful poetry book. It's the name of the poetry book, and I thought it was a God thing, because what we named it was My Life Matters, and then it right after that, became Black Lives Matters, All Lives Matters, and there were lots of, and it seemed to be very appropriate for the time that the young men were saying, my life needs to matter now.
That's right.
Okay.
And so Larry, and by the way, we do have copies of those poetry books if anybody wants to buy one. $9.99. Just call me. I'll get you one. But no, it's just for a donation of any amount. But it's definitely something that we keep at our tables so that you can take a look at the hearts of these young men. So is that the kind of thing that you're doing across the board, poetry books or music, or what are you doing?
That's kind of like an offset of what we do. We really focus on the job training and the life skill training.
Yep.
But the life skills part is where we can get really creative and add the songwriting and things like that.
Yep.
I know we did that last year with maybe about 5 or 6 students that were interning. We wanted to find out those who were interested in the music and had that personal drive to do it. And so we kind of used a kind of a side music workshop to teach them lyrics about, and teach them that mode of how to, kind of like a self-release, kind of just to have them share their hearts.
Yeah. And
it kind of really helped them a lot. It was a lot of self-therapy going on there.
Well, I was going to say, that's art therapy.
Absolutely.
Straight up.
Yep.
Yeah. So I want to hear some more about the job training aspect of it, because I know you do resume writing workshops, you do interviewing techniques, you help them get bank accounts. We have actually worked quite a bit with also La Familia and Ande Peña over there, and we've partnered with them as well with the young ladies last year. And so, a lot of those sort of tools that you need to go after a job is what you're imparting. I'd also like our listeners to hear a little bit more when we come back from the break about Highway to Work and what that entails. So if there's someone who's listening who needs to, might be able to take advantage of the program, they know exactly what to do and how to get in touch with you. So we'll be right back in just a second with another session of Abolition Radio.
We'll be back with more Abolition Radio right after these messages from our sponsors.
Hi, this is Vanessa Scott with Abolition Radio, where every week we invite you to join the fight to bring an end to human trafficking. Abolition Radio is the broadcast outreach of Love Never Fails, our nonprofit, which is dedicated to the rehabilitation, education, and protection of youth involved or at risk of becoming involved in domestic sex trafficking. Our goal with Abolition Radio is to eradicate human trafficking in all forms, sex trafficking and labor trafficking locally and globally. We are excited to bring this program to KFAX as we will share stories of hope and opportunities to mobilize the body of Christ and turn this audience into an army of gospel activists who will speak up for justice and act on behalf of those who are trapped or recovering from slavery. Find us on Facebook at Abolition Radio or on the web at abolitionradio.org, and join me each Saturday at 3 p.m. for an exciting episode of Abolition Radio right here on AM 1100 KFAX.
Welcome back to Abolition Radio, where you are invited to join the fight against human trafficking.
And welcome back to Abolition Radio, the broadcast outreach of Love Never Fails. So Larry, we were just talking about Highway to Work. So tell me a little bit about that program.
So Highway to Work is part of a violence prevention piece started in Union City through the YFS services. So currently in Union City, there's a street outreach team, there's a counseling team, and case management, and we are that fourth component, the employment team, and we actually service the Tri-City areas. So we handle Union City, Fremont, and Newark. And basically, we're a paid internship program. I like to say it's a paid internship / education program where we connect youth with employment. We give them work experience, and we help build their resumes so they can be competitive in the workforce. We actually pay them to take job training classes so they can have the essential skills that they need. We also do life skill training classes so they can work on their character building and things like that, how to recognize different contexts and how to act in certain areas. Not only that, but we connect them with education. We're able to pay them to connect with a tutor to improve their grades. And through that, there's incentives as far as like bonuses for their schoolwork. So if they raise their GPA 0.5, they get $100. If they have perfect attendance for 2 months and they're going to class, that's another $150. So there's an array of bonuses that we give the youth for them to focus on their education, because we know that's we know if they have a great education, their work experience later on in life will be at a higher level than it is with not going to school.
That's
right.
right.
We don't want them to stay at low-level jobs, but we want them to succeed. So we try to prepare them for that.
Yeah, I've seen some studies that show that they have earning power, like double or triple their earning power by completing school, just by completing high school, right?
They basically double their income if they just graduate high school.
Yeah.
So
that's a powerful metric. So on that, so one of the things folks need to be aware of is how you qualify, right? So can you tell us? I mean, I know what it was before, but it may have changed.
Right. So we focus on youth ages 14 to 19. And the way that you qualify would be you're either on probation, foster care, or CalLearn and CalWorks. Those are the pre-qualifiers for the program. 14 to 17, it's foster and probation, and then all the way up to 18 and 19 for those who are on CalLearn and CalWorks.
Which basically means you have a small child.
Small child, yes, and some kind of government assistance in some way.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
So previous, just so folks that are listening know this, the age went up to, I believe it was up to 19, right? Before for all three categories, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of an interesting partnership that we tried out with La Familia, where since most of the people that Love Never Fails comes in contact with are not system involved.
Right.
So contrary to people's belief that everybody who's being trafficked are in foster care or they have some sort of criminal background, the people that we're coming in contact with in the street and otherwise are not system involved, and they are not foster care, and they don't have small children, a lot of the young people. And so what we did was we worked out an agreement where could we put some what we call the proactive or preventative folks in classroom with the folks that are qualifying for your program. You're going to teach your program anyway. Let them learn the resume writing and the interviewing techniques, and help us out because we're a volunteer-led organization with very limited funding, and La Familia was kind enough to allow us to do that. And so we'd like to do more pilots like that, or more classes that way, and sort of leverage the resource that's already being provided. And I know you guys are game to try out some stuff like that in Union City. And then of course, as I mentioned, Larry also came and was a sort of a key speaker in one of our cohorts. So, again, this creativity, this how can we help each other? Because we know what the mission is. The mission is to empower the youth. The mission is to give them hope, to give them an opportunity to experience things and see themselves in a new light that they never imagined was available. And so how can we help each other out? So I really appreciate, again, Union City Youth and Family Services for partnering with us in this way. How can people get in touch with you, Larry, if they want more information?
They could check out the website. There's a unioncity.org is where they could go and look under Youth and Family Services, and all of our information is there. Okay. That's probably the main place right now you could look for us. Okay. And just any of the social services buildings, and they should have our flyers there also. Okay. So just keep an eye and an ear out for us. So we're there. We're there. And this guy, in case you couldn't tell by his voice, he's actually a rapper. He's actually a rapper. So maybe he'll bust a rhyme for us at the end. I'm just calling him out. Maybe give us a couple. Okay. All right. So let's transition a little bit. So I want to invite Tim Russell, Pastor Tim Russell, on to join into this conversation, and also Sabrina Henderson, because I'd like to start talking about entrepreneurship and financial literacy. And I know, actually, Larry, if you want to chime in, you're welcome to, because I know you guys do that as well, financial literacy, as does La Familia. But I would like to hear from you all. Well, first of all, Pastor Tim Russell. I'm batting my eyes, guys. For those of you who are listening, you know why. But anyway, I'd like to invite you to tell us about Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center, who's one of our partners, and some of the things that we're doing together.
Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center is a 30-year-old organization that helps individuals start and grow their own business, as well as the financial education, helping individuals understand how to have a financial future, because statistics show that many do not understand how to understand their credit report, how to balance a checkbook, how to save. So we want to make sure that we're not just helping individuals launch and grow a business and have an entrepreneurial mindset, but also how to sustain it through best practices when it comes to finances.
That's awesome. Yeah. So just 2-3 weeks ago, you launched the Palo Alto's first incubator.
Yes.
Didn't you?
Yes.
And so that I had the opportunity to actually attend that with you, and I thought it was incredible. Applause to you all to providing sort of again a place where people can come
yes.
and bring forth their business in their own unique way,
right.
and interact with the community and provide much needed services right there in Palo Alto. Tell us some more about that.
Well, you were there, so thank you for coming. East Palo Alto is a place that many try to drive through or drive around. I grew up there towards the end of my high school years, and I was able and very blessed to be able to open the East Palo Alto's first small business incubator through the platform of Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center. It was a place that right down the street, I grew up in a garage with my mother. So to be able to turn around and help launch the first incubator that
wow.
East Palo Alto's ever known is huge to me, because my mom was an entrepreneur. She went from a garage to a home, turning her passion into profit. And that's what we want to do. Is we want people to know that they are not their mistake. They are not their issue. They are not what has happened to them in life. They are who they're created to be. So that passion that's in them, our job is to help pull it out, help form it, help create a pathway for it so they can be successful. So we're really excited about what that incubator is going to be able to do for those individuals that have that kind of passion.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I was so inspired by some of the stories. One comes to mind of a young man or middle-aged guy that was living in the homeless shelter just a few months prior.
That's right.
Down right next door, Project We Hope.
Yep.
And there he was talking about that he had this masterful mind for math and for computer science and for development. And here he's making these 3D printing applications that create 3D figurines. And that youth can use to better understand how to, basically it's a STEM program, that better understand how to get involved with IT. And I'm thinking, here we are in Silicon Valley, East Palo Alto, and we're providing a platform for a man to come from being homeless to now having his own business and servicing the youth in his community. Amazing.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So we'll be right back in just a moment. I want to hear from Sabrina and get her take on, entrepreneurship and empowering the youth, as we've been saying. So we'll be right back with another session of Abolition Radio.
We'll be back with more Abolition Radio right after these messages.
This is Pastor Gary from Faith Fellowship in San Leandro. We are so excited about the launch of Abolition Radio every Saturday. And we have seen Love Never Fails under Vanessa Scott grow right here in San Leandro out of our church at Faith Fellowship. And now her ministry, God gave her a passion to get young people out of the sex trafficking and sex slave industry. And she has been doing a phenomenal job. Not only is it locally, but now it's going globally. In fact, I prophesied to her that God was going to use her to go nationwide, and that's exactly what's been happening. She is a woman with a vision, with a direction, and a passion to see these young people come out of this kind of arena. And to God be the glory. Join with her every Saturday on Abolition Radio to hear what she has to say and then become a part of what she's doing. AbolitionRadio.org. Love never fails.
Welcome back to Abolition Radio, where you are invited to join the fight against human trafficking.
And welcome back to Abolition Radio, the broadcast outreach of Love Never Fails. Sabrina, so you are the CEO of Young Motivated Entrepreneurs, and you are actually a member of Glad Tidings in Hayward under Bishop Macklin, and you live in Oakland?
I live in Berkeley, actually.
You live in Berkeley, okay.
I live in Berkeley, and I grew up in Richmond.
Grew up in Richmond, so you know a lot of different folks. And tell me a little bit about what inspired you to start YME.
As a kid, I always had my hands on something. I was always had some new idea of how to make money. So, I always kept change in my pockets somehow. And I realized that through entrepreneurship, and I mean, because kids are naturally like innovative. Mm-hmm. So if you can, it's easy to mold a kid's mind. So if you can, in the midst of molding their mind, teach them entrepreneurship, then naturally it'll become a part of them, and they can grow and have their own income, and be their own boss.
So tell me some more. I once knew this young man. Actually, Katrina Bowman, she was the director of our outreach program, and her son, her oldest son, mm-hmm. he was extremely skillful, and I'm sure he still is, at selling candy bars mm-hmm. at school. Mm-hmm. And he would get them on sale at just the right time and then get them, hustle them during lunch. And he had 3 people mm-hmm. working for him at one point in mm-hmm. high school, 9th grade. And, so tell me a little bit about what you did when you said you always had change. And I like the in my hand, right? We're sticking with the in my hand thing. So what did you do?
Actually, honestly, my biggest moneymaker was in high school. Mm-hmm. I used to buy broken cell phones, mm-hmm. and I would repair them and sell them overseas. I had a business on eBay, and people would they pay big money overseas to have the phones from the States for whatever reason. But
okay,
yeah, I would change the housing, and I would make them like custom colors, and people they loved them.
Wow, that's so cool. So what made you tell me about YME and, what you're hoping to do for others, other young people such as yourself?
Hopefully, the vision is to allow kids to operate a complete business from A to Z. They're the workers, they're the owners, and they learn how to operate the business like entirely. Mm-hmm. So if they have an idea, not only will they be able to push their idea, but they'll know how to.
Okay.
So, and know how to run it for the most part.
Okay. So I want to do a little experiment on the show.
I think she's putting us on the spot.
So here we have, because something happened during the break. See, Miss Sabrina knew she's an entrepreneur. So she heard, her ears perked up when she heard that Pastor Russell had some things to share that could help her further her dreams and her passions. And so tell me, why don't y'all talk to each other? I'd love to hear. What would you say? Sabrina, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
25.
25. Young lady, beautiful young lady's got a mind for this. How would you take her through what she needs to move YME? She just started 2 months ago. She's looking to put some things together. Where do we go from here?
I think the first thing, I'm very impressed, and congratulations on starting your own business and always being someone who knows how to keep change in her pocket. I like that. I think the first thing to do is sit down and assess what's your mission, what's your vision. Mm-hmm. You've sort of articulated that right now, but as you walk through the door, I will go, okay, what do you want to take your company? Where do you want to see it 5 years from now? And the goal is to build a map of success. Find out what you know right now and build upon that, and then go from there to say, okay, what else do we need to, what other classes, what other workshops, what other consultations we need to get you involved in, so that you can really strengthen the skill that's already in you. We're not putting the passion in you. You're the one with the passion. You're the one with the gift. You're the one with that purpose. Our job now is to just stand alongside of you and help form it and really help nurture it. So I would ask you, if you came through the door, what is your company about? And you've already said what it is, and what do you want to see happen? And then from there, begin to put you with our consultants who are skilled. They're business owners, they're founders, they're educated, they're successful in what they do.
They know the game.
There you go. We have one.
I told you she was smooth.
Yeah. We had one financial consultant. He's a financial consultant who started his own company called Financial IQ, and he did that through failure. We went out and bought 3,000 pairs of shoes, and without doing any projections or any kind of plan, and the shoes became the furniture in the house, and he almost lost his marriage. No, I'm kidding. But my thing is, he learned. Now he can teach that. He can say, this is the wrong way, and this is the right way. So I would probably sit down with you and say, hey, how can we help you take your company to the next level? Because it's all about sustainability. We want that 2 months to become 20 years.
2000.
Yeah, 2000.
2000. Come on, legacy. Yeah.
There you go. So where do you see yourself in your company, let's say a year from now?
Actually, a year from now, I see it in full effect.
Okay, what is define? Talk to me as Denzel Washington says,
I'm
a 3-year-old. What is full effect? What is that?
Full effect. Multiple businesses operated by the youth.
Good. Now I would ask you this question: do you want to see those businesses, those multiple businesses, in every city throughout the Bay Area, or do you want them in just one city?
I'm talking nationwide.
Oh, so you want to go nationwide?
Yeah.
So again, you're right now literally mapping out that my vision is not just local; it's nationwide. So the greatest thing we need to do right now is to build a model locally that you can duplicate nationally.
That's good. That's good. So this dialogue here that we just kind of went through is what I think as the seniors in this, the season.
I'm with you, Sabrina. I'm young with you.
Denzel over here trying to claim youngness now. But we're going to keep it moving. So, no. So with the us here that are out here trying to support and specifically kind of bringing it back to folks that have been either at risk or currently being exploited, how can we sit down with them where they are?
Yeah.
They might be talking about the hustle. They might be talking about being exploited.
Yeah.
Put that to the side.
Yep.
Let's talk about what they want to do. Okay, I want to make a lot of money. Well, why? What do you want to do with it? Who you going to help with it?
That's right.
How much money we talking about?
Right.
And help them model some businesses and some outcomes and put some plans together, and then start to have a different discussion about what other industries other than what you're doing now could support your dream.
That's right.
Right? We gotta help. We gotta meet people where they are.
That's it.
So
and collaborate and partner.
Yeah.
And we have to understand that we don't know all the answers.
Right.
I need you, Vanessa. I need you, Larry. I need you, Sabrina. I need you. We need to work together better and collaborate more. And what I don't do well, transfer them to you, because you do it well and you do it well and you do it. And now we build a network that really supports that we need the way it needs to be.
Absolutely. And I'm just brought to Kelvin, your friend Kelvin, who I think at one time you had gone to church together, so that's how you met, and now he's a leader at Children's Hospital in Oakland. And here you come, and I'm telling you about the I Am House, and you begin to tell me about all these services that he has. That he is actually responsible for providing diapers and dental care and medical care and all of these services that I need. Yeah. And this is just through you, I've come in contact with this blessing here.
There it is.
I knew that.
Gold star.
When I started to say it, I was like, where am I taking this? But anyway, I'm preaching. I didn't mean to give away that gold star, but he can take. No. But really, there's so many benefits to partnering. And I'm just so grateful to have you all here, and Regina there on the phone. Love you guys so much. And so in a second, we're going to come back where there's some events and things that we want to make sure you're aware of, things that these partners in the room are working on that they can invite you out to. So you want to come right on back with another session of Abolition Radio.
We'll be back with more Abolition Radio right after these messages from our sponsors.
Hi, this is Vanessa Scott with Abolition Radio, where every week we invite you to join the fight to bring an end to human trafficking. Abolition Radio is the broadcast outreach of Love Never Fails, our nonprofit, which is dedicated to the rehabilitation, education, and protection of youth involved or at risk of becoming involved in domestic sex trafficking. Our goal with Abolition Radio is to eradicate human trafficking in all forms, sex trafficking and labor trafficking locally and globally. We are excited to bring this program to KFAX as we will share stories of hope and opportunities to mobilize the body of Christ and turn this audience into an army of gospel activists who will speak up for justice and act on behalf of those who are trapped or recovering from slavery. Find us on Facebook at Abolition Radio or on the web at abolitionradio.org, and join me each Saturday at 3 p.m. for an exciting episode of Abolition Radio right here on AM 1100 KFAX.
Welcome back to Abolition Radio, where you are invited to join the fight against human trafficking.
And welcome back to Abolition Radio, the broadcast outreach of Love Never Fails. So we've got a lot going on, and I'm actually just going to give everybody, open it up a little bit for everyone to kind of share their various events. So maybe, Larry, if you want to take us through, how can folks get involved with what you're doing?
So we're currently enrolling for our Highway to Work program. So if you just go to unioncity.org, find Youth and Family Services, and find my name, my number there, give me a call on my work cell, and we'll be able to direct you in the right place and see what we could do for any youth that any youth out there that are qualified for the program. And remember, that's 14 to 19, either on probation, foster care, and CalWorks.
Awesome. Okay, so that's great. Also, Tim, you had a couple of events coming up.
Well, with Renaissance Entrepreneurship Center, if you go to rencenter.org, you'll find that throughout the Bay Area we have sites in different locations such as Marin, San Francisco, Bayview, Hunters Point, East Palo Alto, and Richmond, where we are having classes helping individuals start their business, helping individuals grow their business, and even advance consulting with our business development consultants. In Richmond, we have a women's only class that's starting on the 16th, which is a Monday night at 1500 McDonald Avenue in Richmond. That's a class called Simple Steps. And you're going to leave that class with a business plan. So if you have a passion that you want to turn to profit, if you have a business idea, come out. And by the time that class is over, you're going to have a business plan. So contact us, as we have a lot of financial education. We have a lot of resources. We have a lot of contacts that we connect you with. And on another side, I'm a pastor of Lift Ministries. And every third Saturday, we have what's called Community Outreach Day, and from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's where we give away food, supplies, clothes, shoes, whatever is needed. We have furniture, toys, bikes. Our partner Costco and others have really blessed us with things that we can definitely help individuals and families have that will go a long way in helping individuals transform their lives.
Yes, and that is something that Love Never Fails is involved in, as well as One Brick at a Time, or One Brick, and there's several other community organizations that are starting to get involved with the Lift Initiative and get involved with that. So do come out and participate in that with us. Also, Regina, you've got some stuff coming up, right?
I do. So there's a Freedom Theater that's in Palo Alto to bring awareness to trafficking. So I'm performing there, and I think Benita's there as well. And it's at Congregation at Cheyenne. That's Sunday, March 22nd, 7 to 9. And before that at Spark Church as well at 4 p.m. So that's a performance. And then anytime from Tuesday to Saturday, then anyone wants to come in and stop in the store. It's 352 17th Street, located in Oakland, California.
All right.
Yay. And then we should probably mention that you and I are going to be speaking, and you'll be sharing your gift at the Freedom Summit that's coming up in May 9th, right?
Yes.
And so you want to go on to
Levi Stadium.
Levi Stadium, yeah. You want to go on to the Bay Area Anti-Human Trafficking or Bay Area Anti-Human Trafficking Coalition website.
BAATC.org.
Yes, and get your tickets there. So what else do we have going, Benita?
Well, SIM Week, Sexually Exploited Minors Week is coming up, April 20th through the 26th. And we, along with Missy and Dreamcatchers and other collaborators, Alameda County Family Services, are sponsoring and collaborating together during that week. And there will be many activities going on. The proposed theme thus far is Stop the PIMP, Prostituting Innocent Minors for Profits. And we're trying to capture the communities to put young people at the center. It's all young people centered, supported program. That week we will end the week with open mic as usual, and YCAT is proposing their walkathon for that Saturday, the 25th, hopefully in Hayward. So we have that coming up as well.
Awesome. Okay, so really quickly, we want to remind you to go to abolitionradio.org, and you can hear recordings of our past episodes as well as this one. You can learn more about Love Never Fails through our website, loveneverfailsus.com. You can also like our page, which is Love Never Fails. Join us as a friend on Love Bay, and also our Twitter feed, which is Love Never Fails 5. Also, we want to invite you out on our outreach. We're going to San Francisco this month, the 21st. So if you want some more information about that, you can hit me up at Vanessa at loveneverfailsus.com. I should mention the outreach meeting is going to be out of Faith Fellowship. So meet us at Faith Fellowship at 6:30 in the evening. And then lastly, we are so excited. We're opening the I Am House tomorrow, which is March the 16th. We are so excited about that grand opening. Actually, we're doing our grand opening on the 15th, and then we're actually opening the house for women and children, 5 women and 9 children on Monday the 16th. So we do need your support. We encourage you to support us financially if you can. Go to our website and click on the Donate Now. And also, if you wouldn't mind, the People's Momentum Award is actually giving away $10,000 grant. And if you go to their page and you nominate, you vote for us, vote for Love Never Fails, we have the opportunity to win $10,000. We thank you so much for your
Spread
support.
the word.
And if no one has told you this, we want to make sure we do. You are loved.
Thanks for joining us this week on Abolition Radio. We trust that you've been inspired by these stories of hope and survival, and that you'll accept our challenge to get involved by contacting us at abolitionradio.org, by liking and sharing our page on Facebook, Facebook.com/Abolition Radio, or by making a contribution directly to Love Never Fails. Abolition Radio is the broadcast outreach of Love Never Fails, which is a donor-supported, nonprofit ministry that Vanessa founded as a way of directly impacting the lives of young people who are trapped in or at risk of becoming involved in sex trafficking. This broadcast needs your involvement and support. To find out more, simply go to abolitionradio.org and click on Love Never Fails. Today's program was brought to you in part by Case Industries and with major support from the staff and membership and donors at Faith Fellowship Church. Our theme song, Courage to Believe, is by Justin McRoberts. Hear more about his passion for justice and art at justinmcroberts.com. Our audio engineer is Jarrell Martin, and this is Dave Naderhood. On behalf of Vanessa, Benita, and the whole team at Love Never Fails, thanks for listening, and thanks even more for taking action to help set captives free.
You're in the neighborhoods we live in. You're in the ones we're passing by. You're in the ones we call our neighbors, and the ones who still escape our eyes.